I'm just wondering if you're a listener. Remember, when we came to center and you ran for. I mean, like, in particular, you were throwing up the whole weight room. I wanted to hit it, and I realized that biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time, Houston Show, on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show on the 100.9 on your radio dial, the Martin Houston Show fan page on Facebook. So glad to have you as a part of the program. Glad to be live and local right here on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9 on your radio dial, the Martin fan page on Facebook. Hey, let's remember that this is a day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be a difference you want to see in the world today. All right, edition of the Martin Houston Show. So we'll have Scotty Hollins joining us in the fourth quarter, and he'll be challenging us to finish strong with the Johnson & Marshall Dentistry Christian Moment of the Week. Otherwise, phone lines are open. You can call us today, 205-409-7877, 205-409-7877. We're going to dedicate a good bit of time today to talk Herb Jones. So if you want to talk about a young man, and I'll make some more comparisons between Bama basketball and Bama football on the individual player level. Would love for you to be a part of the program, so you can also get your thoughts and comments in as a Casa hotline. Taco Casa taste value under the biggest cactus in town. Go visit them for lunch and or dinner. So they'll be there to serve you. 6 locations in Tuscaloosa, West Alabama, Northport, to better serve you one up in Birmingham off of Lakeshore Drive as well. All right. Good morning, Joe. How you doing, sir?
Well, I'm having a great day today, Martin. Happy to be here and ready for a hump day. How about yourself today?
Oh, man, every day is a good day. Hump day, especially. I have an opportunity, of course, tonight to go worship my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And so I want to encourage everyone else to take some time today to find a place that you feel comfortable doing that as well. As I said, I wanted to talk about, the Herb Jones thing. But before we do that, yesterday, Pat said this is mostly a football show. I am a sports show. I want people to hear that. I love sports. Of course, you talk about what people want to talk about, Joe. So football is what we talk a lot about, but I'm a sports show. And correct me if I'm wrong. Did Alabama softball not win a game against South Alabama in a walk-off grand slam this past weekend?
The Alabama girls, they beat, oh my goodness, beat Northern Iowa on a walk-off grand slam.
Okay.
They lost to South Alabama 1-0 on Sunday, but they did beat Northern Iowa on a walk-off grand slam on Saturday.
I knew they won with a walk-off grand slam, but I wasn't sure who it was against. That's why I wanted to clarify. But of course, because I thought how ironic, because the boys won last night off a walk-off grand slam in baseball against South Alabama. So 11-8. Both of those teams having a great season to a great start. Alabama softball 19-1 with 13 or 14 shutouts so far. And then, of course, their one loss to South Alabama, 19-1. it'll be interesting to watch the freshman pitcher from South Alabama who came in and silenced the bats of Alabama in a shutout. True freshman pitcher they had this past weekend, but good. I don't think it'll ever be a time, Joe, when you see Alabama football play any of the in-state schools, but I do think it's good for the other sports when they play in-state schools and give exposure to those kids and young people who would not necessarily be on ESPN or SEC network except for playing against Alabama. So thought that was a very interesting thing in terms of baseball, softball, both doing well. And Joe, in a normal year, we'd be celebrating even women's basketball right now. Coach Christy Carty finally getting her. It appears that they're going to get their opportunity to play in a tournament in quite a while. So I just wanted to take today and give a shout out to those sports, and of course gymnastics is doing well. So a lot of other good sports happening at the university, and we'll talk about those. But no one, Joe, doing as well as Bama basketball right now. The conversation we had on Monday, does the hardware yesterday, Joe, push this second season of Nate Oates into a different category, or maybe at least for those diehard Bama football fans, will they at least now give Nate credit for being on par with Nick Saban in year two?
I think that Martin, you know as well as I do that people are going to feel blasphemous saying that Nate Oates is on par with Nick Saban. People might question themselves and their own loyalty if they say that. But I'm in the camp that I think his second year was better. I think that if you lock down an SEC championship, which he did, and Nick Saban did not, just those two simple factors pushes Nate Oates above it. And the Coach of the Year award that he won yesterday from the SEC just further goes on to validate that and further goes on to prove it. So I'm in the camp that it's a better second year, but I think that a lot of Alabama fans may feel blasphemous saying that Nate Oates' second year is even on par with Nick Saban's second year.
Yeah, and I think part of that, Joe, comes from they're looking at, a body of work of 14 years of coaching versus, 2 and don't want to put it too far out too fast. But you have to be, just like I said, totally blown away with what's happening on the basketball court. So congratulations to Nate Oates for getting the Coach of the Year award, in terms of what he was able to do, SEC as well as AP. And when you look at what Herb Jones is doing and what he's done, is this – I had several questions. Is there – when you look at what Herb Jones has done in this year, I'm going to come back and compare him with some things that happened in Alabama. But let me ask you this question, Joe. With the change in basketball, in the style of basketball, it's a lot of shooting, a lot of scoring, but this Alabama team is playing defense at an extremely high level. Was the SEC's recognition of Herb Jones as both the player of the year and the defensive player of the year, was this potentially a shift back to a two-way player for basketball?
Well, definitely a good observation, but I think Herb Jones is just so impactful on both ends of the floor. Obviously, his defense, he won Defensive Player of the Year. His defense has been stellar since pretty much the day he came onto campus, and that's not changed, and that's been awesome, man. But his offensive growth, shooting nearly 50% from the three-point line, and really being able to play that point forward when we really have a true guard, played point forward for us this year and guided us to an SEC championship. I think, you do see a bit of a recognition for a two-way player, but I kind of think that it's the SEC saying, "Oh, let's give it to the best player on the best team," and that's kind of how they chalked it up. Pretty, maybe an oversimplification, but it kind of seems that way to me.
Yeah, and that's why I asked that question. Is this really? Was it as I don't know which one's more impressive in terms of how much the young man has grown as a player. When you're as good as he was in terms of, or is, I should say, on the defensive side of the ball, and you've made your hay on that side of the ball, it really is impressive to see a young man. I can remember 2 years ago cringing when Herb would bring the ball up the court. I mean, literally like, oh my God, is that the best we have? I mean, I really remember thinking that. And now you look at it and you go, wow, this is crazy to think that Herb Jones is not, he's not just a good player. He's playing elite basketball. If you love basketball, Joe, if you just love, shooting, etc., then you may not be as impressed with Herb Jones. But to me, I tell people I don't think we've ever given Herb as much credit for what he does and the way he impacts the game, averaging double digits, but he averages probably, what would you say, on the defensive end of the court, if you take him out of the game, the other team gets what, 8 to 10 more points a game?
Yeah, he's definitely worth a lot of points on the defensive end, taking the opponents out of the game. And you look at it, you talk about how special he is, Martin. He's one of 2 players in the whole country, not just the SEC. He's one of 2 players who's on the finalists for Naismith Player of the Year and Naismith Defensive Player of the Year, along with a young man from Southern California. But he's getting the national recognition this year for being both effective on the offensive and defensive end. And it's insane just his growth. I mean, when he came here, you talk about cringing, bringing the ball to the floor. He was a total liability on the offensive end. And, he's just really improved that part of his game, and Nate Oates has really helped him in that aspect of his game. But he's always had the gritty defense, and he's always been an instinctual player. So it's really impressive to see his season.
Yeah, we'll continue this conversation with Herb Jones and just kind of a Herb Jones highlight show. We'll come back on the other side. We'll get Pat into the conversation. You're welcome to get in the conversation, 205-409-7877, 205-409-7877. Add your thoughts and comments on Facebook as well, and we'll work those into the conversation. Follow at Martin Houston 35. Remember, Overflow Express Wash, overflowexpresswash.com, where you can find them online. Overflow Express Wash location currently open and serving customers, creating a great atmosphere, cleaning your car inside and out, right on Skyland Boulevard, just past the Town Square Media Studio Hub, Tide 109, the home of Alabama sports. We're going to dig deeper into the Herb Jones haul yesterday, is the best way to say it. But the thing that has stood out to me is he stepped on the court as the hardworking defensive player. Then he had a coach come in who honored that by naming having an award, Hard Hat Award, which goes to the gritty and most determined player on the court. 27 games. I tell you how many times Herb Jones took that award home as Mr. Hard Hat, recognized by his coaches through the blue collar point system. We'll tell you that on the other side, as well as highlight a couple other awards this young man took home on yesterday. Congratulations to Herb Jones. Good to see a local kid from just down the road doing big things on the basketball court. That conversation and more right here on the Martin Houston Show.
Tide 1. Traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, it's a clear start to your Wednesday morning with no wrecks reported so far on Tuscaloosa highways or roadways. Make sure you take your time and drive safely as you head to work or class this morning. From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, I'm Meg Summers. Take advantage of huge savings and big rebates now. The stimulus sale at Townsend Nissan at Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa.
Tuscaloosa Tire and Service, they've got the big brands you know and trust. Goodyear, Firestone, Bridgestone, Cooper, and they can finance for you as well. When you need routine maintenance and alignment, whatever it is, belts, hoses, just basic stuff, or when you don't know what's wrong with your car, truck, or SUV, make it Tuscaloosa Tire and Service. They're dependable, they're trustworthy. That's why they've lasted for over 36 years. Skyland Boulevard, McFarland Boulevard East, in Northport on Lurleen Wallace Boulevard. Check out the website, TuscaloosaTireandService.com.
Before the action begins, make sure your bets are in. Every hit. This ball is crushed. Every point. Who do they give it to? The Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino revolutionizes the fan experience. On your phone, casino kiosk, at the Timeout Lounge. Don't just be a fan. Be a player. Be a winner. Get to Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. Fans, we're here to play.
Making popcorn for movie night?
Well, who are you?
This is your wake-up call from TracFone Wireless. What if every time you tried a new streaming service, you had to buy a new TV?
That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, some wireless companies do that when you switch, make you buy a new phone.
Right.
But TracFone Wireless lets you keep your phone and your number and your network, and gives you unlimited talk and text starting at $20 a month.
Seriously, who are you?
This is your wake-up call, people. TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control. Oh, you're burning it.
Oh, no.
See terms and conditions at TracFone.com.
Shoe Station's spring sale is happening now, and you can save big on comfortable, stylish footwear from Skechers. Shop the latest Skechers collections, including Skechers Arch Fit and Skechers Max Cushioning. Text Station to 87573 for a 25% off coupon. Plus, go to youneednewshoes.com to enter to win free shoes for life or $10,000 cash. Shoe Station spring sale now through March 31st. Again, text Station to 87573 to save 25% on Skechers styles at Shoe Station.
The weather stays dry today. The sky partly to mostly sunny. The high 70. For tonight, mostly fair with the low at 52. Tomorrow and Friday, the sky partially sunny both days. The high tomorrow is 79. Friday's high right at 80. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 45 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith and Sophomart Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email them online at softmarkdesign.com.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
3, 2, 1. Open up. Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9. It is a hump day edition of the Martin Houston Show. We're talking Herb Jones, highlighting him and what he's been able to do, as well as giving a shout out to the other Bama sports and what they've been able to do, and giving Coach Nate Oates a shout out as well. Curtis Lewis did women's basketball that is good. Great girls basketball make the NCAA. We still ways to go to be competitive to Carolinas of the world, but nevertheless, we are better and headed in the right direction finally. So congratulations to them. Virgil Williams saying it's amazing to see all of the Bama sports playing at a high level. Winning begets winning with 6 exclamation points. Totally agree with that. And DH Bates replying to that, I agree. It brings recognition to the university from parents and potential athletes, in my opinion. CJ Watson asked an interesting question, Joe, and this may be something you know or don't know. One of the stats they look at in basketball, I know one of the analytics is plus or minus court. And he was just saying I bet you it'd be pretty high. But let's go ahead and get to Pat. He may jump us off the subject for a little bit, but we'll get back to Herb Jones if so. Not Herb. Pat, you in with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, man? Pat, you there?
Good morning, man. I was thinking about, we get a little bit into what I wanted to jump off about, but let's continue with Herb.
Okay.
Did you see him, Dennis Rodman I didn't like Dennis's politics. I didn't like Dennis's tattoos, but I love Dennis's ability to give his body up for the basketball. Do you not agree with that?
Well, one of my follow-up questions that I was going to next segment was, who is Herb? What player does Herb most remind you of? And early in his career, I would have said Dennis Rodman. I'm not sure if not selling him short now if we compare him to Dennis Rodman. As far as his effort, and his work on the defensive end, rebounding, hustle plays, all that, I would say Dennis Rodman would be a guy who found to work the niche and exploited it to the highest level possible. But I think Herb Jones came in as a Dennis Rodman type player and has now found a way to make himself even more valuable. Your thoughts?
Exactly. I thoroughly agree. Dennis didn't shoot the ball. If Dennis was capable of shooting the ball, Dennis would much rather get a rebound than he had to shoot the ball, I believe.
Yeah.
But Herb is becoming quite the offensive weapon also. Being able to shoot the three, being able to drive to the basket. He's become an all-around player, and that's what I really like about Nate Oates, is that we have so many shooters, and undoubtedly it must be a gym work ethic. What do you think?
Repeat that last part.
I said, undoubtedly, it must be a gym work ethic. Besides, because these boys have got to be. You don't just get the muscle memory of shooting that three ball and without a tremendous amount of practice on your own.
Well, according to Herb himself, is he put a lot of time into it. He just. Herb, I think, was one of those guys that was so dominant at the high school level, he never had to shoot a lot. Coming from Hale County and playing against smaller competition. So I don't think he necessarily had to rely on his shot as much. And I think he's done a lot to improve that. And it's strictly through work. That's one of the things I love about basketball. There are certain parts of the game that you can work on and just get better at. A three-point shot, you usually don't see that type of shot. That type of improvement, Joe, and you can jump in here anytime you want, but you don't see that type of improvement unless the guy already had the skeleton there and just didn't use it. And I think that's probably what we had with Herb, is a guy who probably had some skill sets but never had to use it. And then he got in the gym and worked on it. But like free throws, ball handling, those are things that you can literally get better at. Judd Davis said this. He said, talk about Herb Jones. He's 100% agree. A few years ago when Herb fired a three, I just looked down and wondered why. Now he's got the highest shooting percentage on the team from behind the arc. Very impressed how he's improved all aspects of his game. Hope he can lead the Tide deep into the tourney. Him saying that on Twitter. So, but yeah, Joe, you have any comments on that? Thanks, Pat.
Yeah, I got one more thing.
Go ahead.
Real quick. It's come into play that you know how Coach Saban has a school for wayward coaches. Perhaps maybe wayward football players a little bit. I don't know how wayward, but I know we need a cornerback. And it seems that we got a chance to get an all-ACC cornerback from Clemson. And his kid's last name is Kendricks, I think. And anyway, he had several interceptions, lots and lots of pass breakups, and many tackles. And but you know how if a player leaves Alabama, he can get immediate eligibility. But if a player comes to Alabama, he got to sit out a year. But being that he's coming from the ACC, we should be able to get immediate eligibility if it comes to fruition. What do you think, Martin?
Well, I just want them to be consistent on the eligibility thing. I'm not big on giving them immediate eligibility unless they transfer within a certain window of time. I have no problem with players transferring, getting one free transfer and play opportunity if they do it within a certain window, a certain time. I'm not for a guy going through off season, going through spring, everybody getting situated, and then things don't work out the way he expected, or he got beat out on the depth chart or got outworked in the off season, and then he transfers and gets immediate eligibility. If he transfers during that same time that, kids have to sign scholarships and all that, I'm not as big an opponent of one free transfer and immediate play, but I hope they don't just make it where you can transfer any time of the year and be eligible to play immediately. But they do need to have some type of consistency, because it shouldn't matter which school you transfer to or from on whether or not you're eligible. It should be a rule and a guideline that they follow.
It's got to be a handle on it, or it will be Wild West Enterprises.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, sir. Have a good one.
Y'all have a blessed day.
All right. Let's bring in Tom. Tom, you in with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, man?
All right, Martin, can you get Joe to turn you up? I can't hear you very well.
Okay. I can turn myself up too. So.
Oh, thank you. Much better. How are you this morning, by the way?
I'm doing well.
Herb Jones, it was brought up yesterday. It may have been Joe that brought this up, but the system of you're talking about all the things that Herb does to contribute to us winning, and some of them don't go in the stat column. And I think we all can agree Herb is big on the little things. And they brought up Dennis Rodman, and I think Herb's got a little more offense than D-Rod had, but D-Rod, in terms of offense, leading the league like 6 or 7 years in a row in rebounding.
Right.
That's offense. That's another possession that he was granting his team. So that could be looked at. How many points did we get from it?
Right.
That? So that's one way to look at that. But on Herb, like I said, we agree. Herb does a lot of little things that contribute to our wins, and the system that Coach Oates has in place, the hard hat points and all like that. I thought it was in yesterday. Somebody. The final tally for the hard hat points. The next closest player had 300.
Well,
and I found that to be outstanding.
Well, what this way? There's only 27 opportunities to win the award. Okay, 27 opportunities to get the hard hat award. Herb has 14. The rest of the team combined has 13. So as impressive as the points are,
that's what I'm saying.
impressive as the points are, that somebody's even within 200 points. I think the next closest person won like 3. Herb won more and more hard hat awards than the entire team. All the other, 12, 13, whatever number of guys we have on the team that actually plays, and he's won more than all of them combined, and it's showing up. I mean, I thought this was interesting. CJ Watson talking about, he said, Herb reminds me of Scottie Pippen, not as polished offensively, but he plays that point forward. And like Pip and Herb is elite defensively, and like Pip did so many of the little things. That may be a fair comparison in terms of
more accurate comparison.
Do what?
I said I think that's a much more fair, closer comparison.
I agree.
Rodman ain't nothing else.
Yeah.
Herb can give you some. He had 27 points in one game, and he can give you things. I want to bring this up. Barry said to his credit, when Herb was playing at Hale County, Barry said, "This kid right here, watch out. He has got stuff that you can win with," and he pointed that out early on Herb. And but fortunately, I had seen Herb play. His team came over here where I live, and a friend of mine is the basketball coach over here at Aliceville, and he told me, he said, "Look, if you don't come to any more games, you need to come to this. Somebody wants you to see." That Herb was outstanding. You know what I mean? Of course, now at that level, Herb's going to be outstanding, but it was still fun to see. And then Barry said what he did, and I went, I saw him play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But Herb is, I think, rightfully so, is getting all the accolades that he deserves. He's earned it.
Yeah, and when you look at it, and we'll get the break after this, Jones leads the Alabama team in total rebounds, 165, steals, 46, assists, 85, blocks, 27. His 46 steal leads the SEC. He also leads the team in deflections, 92, and floor dives, 18. I mean, yeah, congratulations, Mr. Herb Jones.
That's a total package, is it not?
That is the absolute total package. Congratulations, Mr. Herb Jones, on being the in percentage. Yeah. So he's doing it all at a high level. And the question I'm going to go to break with, Tom, and I give you a chance to answer it since you're already on this side of the call.
No, that's fine, Martin. I know I'm burning you out.
No. You're fine. You can give me a yes or no, or you can hang on. But when I look at this Herb Jones, right now at the basketball level, only 3 players in the history of the SEC has ever done what Herb did yesterday. Okay? Win the SEC Player of the Year and the Defensive Player of the Year. Only 3 have done that, including him. He's the 3rd one to do it. First one at Alabama. If he wins either the Naismith or the Naismith Defensive Player of the Year, is that in the same air as what Devontae Smith did winning the Heisman in football? So I'll let that I'll let that simmer a little bit. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate that. Hey guys,
I enjoy this show, Martin. I'm so glad you're back.
Glad to be back. Hey, let's go ahead and get the break here. Coming back on the other side. Think about that for a second. Where does this season rank now when you look at a basketball player? Is what he's already done in basketball, is that equivalent to the Heisman? Or does he need to get at least one, if not both, of the Naismith Awards in basketball to be at that rare air that Devontae Smith had himself at this year? We'll continue that conversation right here on the Martin Houston Show.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, slow start to your Wednesday morning with no accidents reported. However, make sure you slow down if you're headed through the construction zone on 2059. You don't want to end up with a speeding ticket. From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, up next summer, take advantage of huge savings and big rebates now with a stimulus sale at Townsend Nissan at Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages
which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium pack, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Scholar right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look for you a part of their team.
Whether you just found it or lived there for years, you'll never forget that feeling. It was something that made you realize this house would become your home. And since there's no place like it, deserves protection just special. So talk to a real person, not a website. Call your Allstate agent, Andrew Kniffer, today at 205-722-9201 or find us on Facebook, Andrew Kniffer Agency. Once again, you can reach us at 205-722-9201. Allstate. Are you in good hands?
Gear up for fishing at Crimson Pride Fishing and Hunting in Northport. For crappie fishing, they have live bait, crappie rods and reels, jigs by top name brands like Zemco, B&M, Bobby Garland, Arky, Crappie Master, and Roadrunner. For bass fishing, Crimson Pride Fishing and Hunting has name brand rods and reels, soft plastics, jigs, crankbaits, spinnerbaits, bladed jigs, hooks, and everything you need for tournaments or fun fishing. Crimson Pride Fishing and Hunting, now open at 5 a.m. 2.8 of the Northport Civic Center.
Nick Saban calls it the process. Joe said that every ball's on it, and Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our pep talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn, which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peps35.com, that's peps35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
You're back in to the third quarter, second half kickoff of the Martin Houston Show. So glad to be live and local with you on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9. Don't forget to go to tide109.com for great articles, as well as being able to find podcasts and replays of great interviews you hear right here on your home for Alabama sports. We got a lot of conversation going on this morning regarding Herb Jones, and I threw up the question, is this season so far, we've talked about the basketball program and Nate Oates. Where does this stack, Joe, right now, if he doesn't win anything else, where does this stack in comparison to the Heisman Trophy winning season of Devontae Smith and Herb Jones? Which one is so far the more surprising, or the greater, or the more impressive season so far?
I think more surprising, probably Devontae. I think he would not have been my pick if you'd have given me everybody on the Alabama offense. I think he probably would have been third or fourth on my list of who might have won the Heisman. But if Herb Jones actually wins the Naismith Player of the Year, the big national award, or even the Naismith Defensive Player of the Year, then I think that's just as equally as impressive as Devontae Smith. I mean, they're the equivalent. They're the award equivalent for each sport, football versus basketball. It's hard to say which one is more impressive, which one is better off. But I think that Devontae was probably more surprising, but maybe Herb might be more impressive.
Yeah, and you did a good job explaining that. One, Devontae Smith did something that has before at Alabama, meaning he's a third Heisman in Alabama history. The first wide receiver. God, were you the last time a receiver had won, Joe? Barely. I mean, you had to be like,
I was born October of 80.
and it was like what, 90 or 91, something like that, 92 maybe.
Yep.
Yeah, and so so it's been a while, but Herb took Bama basketball with his 2 awards to a place they've never been. Right? No one's ever won both Player of the Year and Defensive Player, and I'll be shocked if he's not in the Final Four for the Naismith. It's still a possibility he won't, but if he is, that will be impressive. And if he brings home one and or both, I think it's March 16th when they make the Final Four for the Naismith Awards. That will be totally impressive. And CJ Watson must be in my head, because one of the things that I want to talk about, though, the reason I'm enjoying college sports, Joe, we've really not seen college sports the way it could be now that we have elite players coming out of high school. Let me explain what when I was coming out of high school, these kids, man, they're coming out of high school with weight programs as good as I had in college. Okay. So you have guys, when they're coming in as freshmen and sophomores, they were out after being in a college program for 2 to 3 years. And they're coming in that good. And so we see all the elite players leave after 3 years. And in football, what happened, Devontae Smith, Najee Harris, Dylan Moses, Leatherwood, Dickerson, all come back. You have to think about Alabama football. Think about how impressive they were as fourth-year players. And that's kind of what college sports used to be. And you look at basketball with Petty and Jones coming back this year. Isn't it a lot of fun? I don't begrudge the guys. Don't get me wrong. From if it was my kid or if I was, representing them, I'd tell them to go if they were ready as well. But hasn't it been fun to watch some of these guys at the collegiate level come back, make the sacrifice, and then show what hard work, dedication can do? And you wonder if this will start a trend.
Well, it really is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun because you're able to really get to be able to kind of. It's almost inspiring to see because what the senior class, and especially in basketball, has gone through. They went to the NCAA tournament riding college and coattails, really, but they've heard it under the last 3 years and kind of had a lot of vitriol and a lot of hate for the group because they haven't really been successful. So it's been awesome to see them kind of stick it out and really be reaping some of the benefits from sticking it out.
Yeah, and you just nailed it. I mean, they went through, they had a hard time. And think about the injuries they had. And, Herb Jones last year, we felt like we would have made the tournament last year had he not got injured and hurt. And this year, he's the only player that started every game. And so just to see that reward of a senior, and like I said, I don't begrudge the guys at all for leaving early. But, man, it just shows you what college sports, to my point, the one and done or forcing players to come for 1 year and then them leaving, I think, hurts basketball probably more than football players leaving in 3 years. But to see the impact, as C.J. Watson put it, It's neat to see the impact of seniors in Bama football and basketball this year. Devontae Smith, Najee, Petty, Jones, all seniors who came back. It really is. It's been fun for the fans, and you just wonder, will guys see that and potentially? I know Nick Saban has had the conversation. Nate Oates had to have the conversation this year. Will those guys' success in terms of the draft? Because the draft still out, Joe. You know, like I think the draft still holds an important role in terms of what happens in the mindset. But if you see Devontae Smith stock go up, you see Najee Harris stock go up, you see Leatherwood stock go up, you see those guys who came back, who could have been late first round, early second round guys being first round, getting drafted. However, he may even be higher than that by the time the season's over based on how the tournament goes. And you see Petty, Nate Oates and Nick Saban can say, hey, I know you want to go, but you're borderline. Come back, work hard, where you need to improve, and you can see that. Dak Prescott be another one I would use too. I know I'm throwing that off into the side, but you remember Dak Prescott talked into coming back by his coach and was able to get drafted and found himself, and now, of course, worth $160 million overpay. But anyway, before we get out of here to get to Scotty Hollins, Joe. All right, let's go ahead and get the break here.
It's been a fun year to be watching Alabama basketball. They're racking up the awards, kind of a lot like Alabama football. We'll see if they can keep it as they get in, towards the end of the week. We'll play. Gotta take care of business. You don't want to flame out early in the SEC tournament. Got to take care of business. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we had Lake Martin John said, good team basketball doesn't play until Friday. They hurt. How do you coach through layoff? We'll talk about that. I think it actually may help this Alabama basketball team in terms of their shooting, give them a chance to get their legs. But we'll talk about that more as they prepare to start the SEC tournament on Friday. Good to see Alabama not being the first ones up and the first ones out in basketball. All right, let's go to break here. Come back on the other side. We're going to have the Johnson & Marshall Dentistry Christian Moment of the Week with Scotty Hollins, Executive Director of Blueprint Ministries. Coming up next, talking to us about finishing strong.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, a mostly clear start to your Wednesday morning. Do you see some delays on 2059 through the road construction and on McFarland Boulevard in Northport? What's up with that? Just people waiting to turn into Chick-fil-A. From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, I'm Meg Summers. Take advantage of big savings and huge rebates now at Townsend Nissan on Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good morning. It was a seriously hot fire that brought some 100 firefighters from Bibb County, Tuscaloosa, and Perry counties to Centerville yesterday afternoon to battle a fire at Cahaba Pellets. The business was a total loss. Smoke covered much of South Tuscaloosa County. Alabama National Guard troops will be deployed to 24 Alabama rural counties to administer the COVID-19 vaccine. Many of those counties are located here in West Alabama. Keep up with local news on TuscaloosaThread.com. I'm Don Hartman, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about Tuscaloosa Custom Carving. If you're looking for a way to add value to your home, make your flower beds pop, make your landscaping stand out from your neighbors, then Tuscaloosa Custom Carving can help you do just that. They have numerous styles, but they feature the Moroccan Stone Curve series, which includes 4 great styles and unlimited color choices. That's Tuscaloosa Custom Carving. They are the one that can help you stand out from your neighbors. Tuscaloosa Custom Carving, 205-331-6823. You may also find yourself with the need for a custom-sized stone or custom-shaped stone. Then Tuscaloosa Custom Carving can help with that as well. Paul Fuller and his team are waiting on your call right now for that free quote. And if you tell them that Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show told you to stop by, you'll get a big discount. So call Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing at 205-331-6823 or visit them online at Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, LLC.
The following is a paid announcement. The advertiser was paid a marketing fee for a digital campaign. Please make sure to review our disclaimer on our report page.
The new year is here, and the time is now to capitalize on the EV stocks boom in U.S. markets. If you're following EV stocks, then you may know that this potential $3 trillion marketplace depends on graph generation energy cells. The industry is facing low supply that might not meet demand over the next 10 years, but we've identified a company that could supply the industry with the world's highest grade of graphite for lithium-ion batteries for decades. And you can get up-to-the-minute research on the stocks that are poised to lead the way with your free subscription to Avid Mineral Report. Text the word stock to 48542 to find out which stocks can take your investment research on the electric vehicle market to the next level. Text 8542. Get this red-hot intelligence delivered directly to your mobile device so you can make decisions as market conditions change. Text the word stock to 48542. Get your free subscription to Avid Mineral Reports when you text stock to 48542.
TNT's stimulus sale is going full steam ahead with offers like this. Brand new 21 Versa sedan starting at only $14,990. Wow! New 2021 Nissan Kicks sitting at $19,990. Now that's real savings. Okay, the Big Daddy SUV, the Nissan Armada, discounted up to $9,000. And remember, Townsend Nissan wants your trade-in today. Visit them at townsendnissan.com or call 205-561-3993.
The sound of Bama Sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Here you go. There you go. Hot in 3, 2, 1.
Johnson and Marshall Dentistry, care for your smile, a healthy mouth, one smile at a time, changing lives one smile at a time, and discover your smile today at Johnson and Marshall Dentistry. DentistTuscaloosa.com presents the Johnson and Marshall Dentistry Christian Moment of the Week with Executive Director of Blueprint Ministries, Scotty Hollins. Good morning, Scotty. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Martin, I'm doing fantastic and doing better because you're back. Welcome back, man.
Glad to be back. Glad to be back. I want to make sure I give you plenty of time to encourage us, whether we're carrying our faith into the boardroom, the classroom, or our chosen field of play. The Alabama guys need to be listening to this because they've had a great season, and you're encouraging us how to finish strong today.
Absolutely. Hey, so proud of those guys. And yeah, that's my message today. I want to talk to us about how to finish strong. And actually, I may continue this for a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Maybe next couple of weeks, little series on how to finish. Then you consider all that we've been over the. And so, as I share this message on how to finish strong, I want to come from Hebrews 12:1, and this is. Again, the author of Hebrews at this point, again, he's writing to a group of believers who were beginning to coast. They were beginning to go through the motions, and they were beginning to kind of grow weary in their walk with the Lord. And so, the author of Hebrews them this challenge, Hebrews 12:1. So there's 3 challenges in verse 1, and we'll take them one at a time. One this morning, and then there's one challenge. A really cool, really strong one. Actually, that finale is verse 2. But here in verse 1, he says, therefore, this is his message. He's challenging them to finish strong. He says, therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, he says, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily entangles us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. Okay? And I'll save the grand finale for later. I won't even read that. If you want to read it, you have to read Hebrews 12, but I'm just going to look at part 1 of this passage. Therefore, since we're surrounded by such a great cloud of witness, that's part 1. He says, lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily entangles us. And he says, and let us run with endurance the race that's set before us. As you think about challenging believers who have run the race before them, he's pointing them back to Hebrews 11. Romans 11 is called the Hall of Faith. Hey, guys, I know it's tough. I know you're dealing with adversity. I know things are difficult. But guess what? You're not the first person who's having difficult life. You're not the person who's had adversity in front of you. He says, look at this Hall of Faith. Look at all these believers who have run the race before you and who had adversity, maybe bigger than what you're facing or at least big, and they trusted the Lord, and by faith, they finished strong, and so can you. So I want to look at one briefly, looking at Moses as a part of that Hall of Faith and looking at his life. Moses had her, right? And so Moses had a great reminder every morning that God was his greatest need. The cool thing about Moses is, you got to think, he had this huge stutter, and God called him to speak to over 1 million people. And so every time he would get up in front of the people to speak, he would be reminded, Lord, I need you. Lord, I need you. But for the course of his life, God went from being his greatest need to his greatest desire. Later on in his life, God says to him, he said, Moses, pretty much he said, hey, ask for whatever you want. Moses says, God, if I could have anything I want, here's what I want. I want you to teach me your ways, that I may continue to know you and continue to find favor in your sight. Here's his point. Hey, Moses got it. The greatest gift that God could ever give us is himself. And Moses says, Lord, if I could have anything, one thing I've learned is there's nothing better that you could give me than you, so I want more of you. Here's my encouragement to us as we kind of are a year into this pandemic, guys, in terms of finishing strong. Every morning you wake up in this pandemic, you remember that God is our greatest need and that we can't make it without him. My encouragement to each of you is to not stop there, but make sure that God becomes your greatest desire, so that in the midst of this difficult time, we're able to come out of it with amazing treasure, because we have chosen to focus on Christ.
All right. Scotty Hollins, tell them real quick where they can find you, sir.
Absolutely. They can find me. You can go to www.blueprinttuscaloosa.com. You can send me a message there. Come straight to my email.
All right. Well, I can definitely relate to the Moses story, as I had some words and a couple words that I used to struggle with, speech impediment things. And of course, today, God is my greatest source as I make a living with this big old mouth of mine. So we'll have to dig into that a little bit deeper next time as well. Thanks for those encouraging words, Scotty. We'll catch you on next Wednesday. Thank you, sir.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it.
All right. Hey, let's wrap up this edition of the Martin Houston Show. Thanks to all the guests, the callers, and to Scotty for those great words of finishing strong. We'll be talking more Alabama basketball. We're closing in on a week till spring training as well. I'm Martin Houston. That's Joe Gaither. This is the 109 state, and this is the Martin Houston Show. We'll be back tomorrow at the same. Trust in the Lord, not in your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Roll Tide.
Have a great day.
You too. Thanks.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.